On Monday of this week, I was at the preschool because I asked that on the week that it's Parshat Noach, that at the preschool, we sit with the little ones in front of the Noah painting. Those kids who are here probably walked under that painting a million times and never noticed the detail that is in that Noah painting. Or if you've been to the Beth campus for a board meeting or for an event or a celebration or something, you may not have stopped and looked at it. I've always been puzzled because the story of Noah is one of the darkest stories in the Torah. God literally destroys the earth at the beginning, and at the end, Noah has inappropriate behavior. It's like a crazy story, but for some reason, every nursery has Noah items on it. We remember the good, right? Like the good old days. So in this painting, we sat with 4-year-olds and looked at this painting that's above their head. And instead of looking at the obvious things, Noah and his family right in the front, it's clear who Noah is, we actually looked at all the parts that you can't see unless you stop and really stare at the painting. And then the back right, in the Middle East, in the scene, there's 2 polar bears. It's at Mount Ararat, somewhere in Armenia probably, and there's 2 polar bears in this scene that's in the Noah painting that's at Beth campus, which is everything possible, because if 2 of every kind of animal was taken onto the ark, then anything is possible, even polar bears in the Middle East. And so next time you're at the Beth campus, look on the upper right, and you'll see the 2 polar bears. They're small, but in the back, but it's obvious that they're there. And I love doing this with the kids because it lets you take the Noah story and look at it more deeply. Not the blatant stuff we know about the flood and the rains and the 40 days and 40 nights and all that, but really dig deep in the story. And the part of Noach that I'm going to read to you tonight from chapter 8 of the book of Genesis is a part you may not have paid attention to at all, but is a really important part tonight as we look at Pink Shabbat and also even the giving tree. So there's this concept in culture that's known as the Overton window. And what it means is it's everything that's acceptable in society right now. So for example, everything that's acceptable in American society is that voting day is November 8th and that people will vote, and there's campaigns and there's signs all over the place. Like, that's where we are right now in society in this window of time. It might be weird to see a lot of campaign ads in January or February if there's not a primary, but right now we expect lots and lots of campaign ads, and we see ads about voting, and I've gotten like 1 million texts on my phone. I don't know how these people got my number about like different parties and voting and things like that. That's like what's acceptable right now. And the Overton window can move. So for example, you can go out and have a shot of vodka if you want, but during the time of Prohibition, the Overton window moved down where society decided that alcohol was prohibited, right? So the Overton window at one time said alcohol is allowed. Then it moved down to prohibit alcohol, and then Prohibition ended. People were not happy with it, so it moved back to what it was before. Or the right of women to vote. 102 years ago, society was just fine not having women vote, and that was the norm for society. It moved, thank God, and women can vote, but it's only been 102 years. So in the Noah story, we have our normal, our Overton window of the beginning. What happens at the beginning? God creates the world. God creates water, and the water is a beautiful thing. It's that part of the heavens and part of the seas. And it's a beautiful, wonderful thing. And then by the time we get to the Noah story, the power of water has changed, and it's just a destructive thing. And then the water, it stops raining, but the water doesn't go away. Instead, we have this section of Torah, which talks about the complexity of water. It talks about the rain for 40 days and 40 nights, but they didn't get off the ark. They stayed on the ark for another 150 days, and it wasn't like the water just went away. It ebbed and flowed. And then there was a raven that was sent out to see if there was a place to land. And then there was a dove sent out that could find no place to land. And so the water is preventing life from continuing. So at the beginning of Genesis, water is wonderful. And then we have a new perspective on water that's destructive. What it might be like when you get a diagnosis, like our Pink Shabbat acknowledges tonight, that there are diagnoses that different. And all of a sudden, your Overton window changes about what it means to be healthy, and what is a success, and what is a good thing, and what is a bad thing. All of a sudden, your perspective on life changes. And that is the power of Noah. But there's one little thing that I think gives us hope and beauty in the midst of talking about a topic that's really painful and difficult and complicated, and also filled with a lot of hope and a lot of smart people who help find cures. There's a window or a jewel. It's so hard, it's called. It's either a window or a jewel. It's not clear. That's at the top of the ark. Noah was not the best guy, but there was something about the ark that let him be able to have this mystical light-filled window, jewelly place at the top of the ark from which he was able to look out and see. And that's what we can do in times of illness and pain and difficulty, that even when the earth seems flooded, even when everything seems shattered and difficult, there are always jewels to find. And it is Noah who found the jewel when he sent the dove out. And after the third time, the dove comes back with an olive branch, a branch of peace, which is a sign to Noah that as bad, as difficult, as hard as things have become, that when he takes a different perspective, when he moves his Overton window to a place where he's able to see out of this window, he's able to see a different world, and a world full of peace. And that's what we wish for all those on this night as we mark Pink Shabbat, that all those who are battling or recovering or are in remission from their cancers and other illnesses, that you find shalom, you find peace. Because certainly your perspective has changed once you have an illness, but the Noah story reminds us that as long as we have people that bring us light, that bring us joy, that bring us peace, that bring us comfort, then God will be with us. Shabbat shalom.